This is the Infatuasian podcast, a show where we talk with a pretty wide variety of Asian creators. This is Curtis, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking with Hayden. Hayden is a digital artist who worked on much of the environment that you see in Red Dead Redemption 2, a video game by Rockstar Games. Lately, Hayden's been obsessed with electric unicycles and content creation around those. You can check out our Instagram to see some of his carving on those. Hayden used to get in trouble all the time for talking too much in my class, but today, he gets to talk as much as he wants. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. Thanks for listening. Well, hope everyone's doing great out there. Today we're speaking with another former student of mine. He's a digital creator, a video game designer, and electric unicycle enthusiast. We are talking to Hayden Wu. Hey, Hayden, how's it going?
Dude, it's going really good. And when you say it like that, all those things, it sounds like you're making it up, and it sounds a little absurd.
No, you sound cooler. Well,
electric unicycle is not the thing that I lead with.
What do you lead with?
Oh my God. Well, we try to lead with the acronym because the acronym sounds cool.
But see, my audience, 99.9% of my audience will not know. Like, basically, no one will know what EUC is.
Oh God, this hustle is so hard.
Yeah.
How do you convince people to ride on an electric unicycle?
I don't know. Well, that's up to you. I guess that's your job now. So, Hayden, so I've had about a dozen former students on here. And typically, there are students who have gotten A's in my class.
Oh my God. Okay, well.
So you are the first
Let's go ahead and let's crush that expectation right now.
Oh man. So yeah, Hayden had my class freshman bio, and I don't know, how would you describe yourself as a student back in 2000?
Dude, you put me in timeout. You gave me my own desk because I was talking to people too much. I remember I was sitting in the back, like trying to merge a bunch of Oreos together, and it was so distracting.
Yeah, I said
that you were like, "Hey, just come over here." And for the rest of that semester, I had to sit.
It's a little green desk.
A little green desk right next to you in the front of the class. It didn't stop me from talking to everyone.
Yeah, I know. That was the problem. But here we are.
Mm-hmm. Everyone else got their full tables.
Yeah, with partners and people to interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but look at you now.
I mean, it made me feel more special, so
yeah, right? It. No, I think we called it the seat of honor. It wasn't like timeout chair.
It wasn't a dunce chair, no.
Yeah, I think we called it the seat of honor, and you were the most honored student.
Yeah, I was in the gifted and talented program.
Yeah,
when I was 7.
No one doubted your intelligence. No one doubted your creativity, your intelligence. You just drove us all crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was the goal.
Yeah, well, you succeeded, so kudos to you. But we are talking to Hayden, so we'll get into it a little bit. You've been around a little bit doing different things. Were you were born here in San Francisco?
Oh wait, I also failed your class.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I failed your class, and I had summer school. And I did great in summer school. I got a B, dude.
I think I could see you doing well in summer school.
It's because I didn't have any friends there.
You didn't have any friends, and it's just more compact. It's like 5 weeks. You could, like, pretty much anyone can keep it together for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. But like asking a rambunctious 14-year-old to keep it together for 36 weeks is a little
impossible.
It's a little.
I have such deeply seated ADHD. It defines my personality.
Yeah, it was something that we knew about, right? We knew you your mom came in, we had conferences.
This was in high school. My mom came in high school.
Yeah, we knew her on a first name basis. We're like, "Hey, Wendy, how's it going?" Oh man, and actually what's funny, well, we'll get to this in a second. What's funny is I remember at one of these conferences, we were like, "Hey, are you ever going to do any work in high school?" And we were like, "What do you do with all your time?" We're like, "I don't know, I play video games," right?
Yeah, I would stay up till 4 a.m. My parents hid the cords, but I bought a second set of cords, and I would play video games till 4 a.m. every single night and wake up at 7 a.m. for school and then sleep through school.
And we'd say, "Hayden, what are you going to do? Play video games for a living?"
Yeah, but...
And here we are.
I mean,
More or less.
In my defense, making them is very different from playing them.
That's true. But it did turn out to be a career for you. Well, a little bit of a part of it. That's the beginning of a career for you. So yeah, born here in San Francisco and went to Galileo High School. We should say that you're Hapa, right? Your dad's Chinese.
Yeah, my mom is white. We don't know what kind of white. We know she's just from, Tennessee, Mississippi, San Diego.
Yeah.
Just kind of just white. And then my dad's from Shanghai, and we came over, or I shouldn't say we, but my family came over. I guess I'm allowed to say we. We came over in like the 60s, so we didn't get slaughtered by, the communists and that whole thing.
For college and stuff? He did college here?
He came here when he was 2.
Oh.
So we've been here for a hot minute, all the other Angel Island homies.
Yeah. I don't know. This is a weird question, but is he very Chinesey, or is he?
He's 2 years old. I think he's in that weird generation where he tried so hard to be American, right. And so he wears like polo shirts and boat shoes and ties a sweater around his neck. Like he went to Stanford.
Right,
he did time in Europe for grad school. Like he says the word bloody. Like he's trying so hard all the time to be white, but he's so freaking proud of his heritage and being Chinese. Chinese. Like he runs seafood shipping business in San Francisco, and so he knows all the restaurants, all the restaurants owned by name, supplied them with seafood for like 20, 30 years.
Does he speak Chinese?
He speaks Chinese.
Okay, all right.
But now he has nobody to speak it with because my grandparents passed away recently.
Okay. Yeah. So you're going to school in San Francisco. The public schools are the high schools in San Francisco are predominantly Asian. Did you identify?
It's freaking Asian. It's like if you had a white club, it would be understandable. Like it's that. It was. I mean, I think it might. The ratio might be tipping a little more now.
I don't know.
But yeah, when I was in high school, like I mean, no matter what school I went to, it was just filled, even if it wasn't in Chinese, dominated or Chinese immersion stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt it felt weird because all my Chinese friends would call me white, and all my white friends, all 2 of them, would call me Chinese, and so there was no like escape.
Yeah, you had to think about it. It's like in San Francisco, you kind of do. So did you identify more with the Chinese side or with the?
I think I identified more with the Chinese side because it was what everybody else was. You try to fit in, all that stuff.
Your last name is Wu.
Last name was Wu. My, most of my family in the immediate area was Chinese. All my white family is in Tennessee and Mississippi and San Diego. So Chinese culture was kind of all I ever really got.
Yeah.
But we spoke English at home.
Right.
And my dad's, attempting to be white as heck and with my white mom too. So I do him a disservice. He is very good at being Chinese.
Yeah. No, I think you got it. You painted a picture for him. But yeah, no, that generation, we're probably your dad and I probably pretty close in age. But yeah, our generation growing up in the 70s, we were kind of like told, or it wasn't no one ever said it, but the message we got was you want to be as assimilated as possible.
That's how you survived.
Yeah, you don't want to stand out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so even in San Francisco, it's a very different place in the last 30, 40 years. So, So I get your dad. I get your dad a little bit. Okay, so you managed to get out of high school. Well, actually, let's talk about high school a little more.
Oh my God, I love talking about it.
So you were one of the more creative kids in high school. Was that always something, like, did you think you were going to do design or creation when you were in high school?
The creativity stuff, it was a backup plan.
Really? Okay. I thought that was a primary plan.
No, I thought I was an idiot. I still kind of think that, but it never occurred. I mean, we had a media arts class,
right?
And it was with the instructor. He was really into my steez, I guess, and it was a fun class experiment. He kind of let us do whatever we want, and we had film editing and all that stuff. And turns out that ended up being super useful in my career, even to this point. But especially to this point, But at the time, expectations were so high. I was like 16, 17.
Yeah.
And like I was failing literally everything else. And so the only thing I had left to offer was creativity. So I was just like, well, you know, my parents are crying because I'm not graduating barely, right?
Yeah, yeah.
What is he going to do? I just ended up signing up for like creative colleges and stuff. And that was kind of a shit show. Sorry.
I don't know. I thought that made sense though. I mean, it didn't shock any of us.
I really want to talk about college really bad.
Yeah. Okay. So you go to Expression College, SAE Expression College in Emeryville.
Yeah, which is shutting down as we speak.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah. The teachers sexually harassed the students.
Oh, no.
Our graduating class was 13 people.
Oh, wow.
And our program directors told me to stop learning my stuff on the side because what I was learning was wrong. And turns out the things that I got into the industry for was the things I was learning on the side.
Yeah. So you get out and I think you freelance for a little bit.
Yeah. So in college, I was actually working already. I was freelancing for a company called Obsidian, which did Pillars of Eternity and a bunch of other really cool old school games. Mm-hmm. And then after I graduated, oh man, I actually didn't apply. I have never applied for a job before in my entire life.
How did this happen?
Oh yeah, this is okay. I was wandering around Comic-Con because I've never applied for a job because I think I'm a huge piece of poop. So out of school, I was like, well, I'll apply for a job when I'm ready.
Right.
Because
meaning when you have enough skills or when you
exactly. I don't know what that means. It was just my mental block of
you just
being
knew
like
you weren't ready.
Yeah, because I was in school and I was learning and I was in full like I don't know what I don't know mode. You know. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's like an early 20s mentality.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was wandering around Comic-Con because my mom would take me to Comic-Con for like the last 10 years. She volunteers there.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even like comics. She just likes the people.
Yeah, okay.
But I was wandering around the booths and if you're in art and you really want to get into networking or like meeting other people, turns out all the people who do the booths at artist alleys and stuff and selling their own prints, they are 9 times out of 10 huge industry influential artists that are just selling their shit on the side.
Just for fun, yeah. Okay.
Just for fun. And so like most of them work at Pixar or, you know, Blue Sky or Blizzard or, you know, all these other cool companies. And they kind of don't want to talk about that stuff. They just want to sell their own stuff.
Right.
But I was bothering him about it. I was like, wow, your art is so cool. And then, you know, one thing led to another. And so I was wandering around Comic-Con and this one guy, I was like, wow, your paintings are great. He's like, yeah, I'm the art director on Star Wars. I was like, what? I'm 20.
Yeah.
Hello? Uh-huh. And he was like, oh, let me see your stuff. I was like, oh, you don't want to see my stuff. He was like, all right, well, if you want to talk to a game person, because you're into games, right? I was like, yeah, I'm in games. I don't know if movies are my thing. He's like, well, you should talk to Darren. I'm like, who's Darren? He's an art director at Rockstar, San Diego. And I was like, what? Where's Darren? Because that game Rockstar San Diego made was called Red Dead Redemption, and it inspired me to get into the industry.
Wow, okay.
Like that was the first game that was like artsy for the sake of it and not to please anybody other than the thing that they wanted to make.
Yeah.
And so I was like, where's Darren? He's like, oh, he's right next to you.
Just selling some prints.
And he's literally in the booth next to him selling prints too. And I was like, what
the fuck? Chilling, yeah.
So I talked to this guy for like 3 hours at his booth, and we talk about rocks, we talk about landscapes, we talk about games. Turns out he paints for Magic the Gathering and Warhammer and Conan and all of these like huge. For reference, if you even make a single Magic the Gathering card as an artist, you're already like that means you've made it. That means you're you're the toppest tier of both physical and digital art, like fantasy painting.
Yeah.
And so
he's a regular contributor.
He's a regular just when he feels like it. And it's just crazy. Like I remember so he basically was like, so show me your portfolio. I was like, no, I don't know. Show me your portfolio. I was like, fine, okay. I pull it up on my phone. He's like, dude, what the heck is wrong with you? Come work for us. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, man, you don't even need to, we're going to make it happen. Let's go.
What was in this portfolio?
Rocks.
Yeah, right?
A lot of rocks.
Yeah.
I started even an online thread in the video game developer community called Polycount, of just a thread that said like, hey, post your rocks here, because I really like rocks, and rocks are a big part of video games as they are the world.
Yeah.
And it's still like one of the most popular places for game art to talk about. And so I ended up getting industry famous while at Rockstar, being hired to do their terrain art. So I did, vegetation, I did terrain, I did the land. So in any of those, like, in their big games, if you see any landscape, I probably worked on it.
Nice. So this is called environment, right? Or
environment art, yeah.
So describe that. I've only seen videos of the game. I've never played the game. But Red Dead Redemption, describe it for people who don't know.
It's like a Western simulator that summarizes all of the most immersive and still fun, and maybe some of the most depressing parts about being a cowboy in the West while the West is dying, while the golden age of the Wild West is dying.
Yeah. Okay.
And you're kind of caught in between. And so you can't really just travel any town you want. You kind of actually have to survive in the wilds. You have a gang. It's about the fall of the gang, and the coming of age into the next era for America. So it's a really fun game.
It's a first-person shooter? Or is
it's a third-person shooter. So have you ever seen Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
Again, same company. It's just
in the Wild West.
Similar mechanics, but a different take and a more serious tone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get hired by Rockstar. Like, this guy hired you on the spot. Like, he literally
straight up hired me on the spot. Yeah. So they flew me out. I was 20. I was like 20 years old, 20 or 21, and they flew me out. And I show up to San Diego. They gave me the rental car. They gave me the hotel. I have my iPad or something in my hand, like for my portfolio. They show up. A bunch of guys enter the room. They're like, "Hey, so what do you want for lunch?" I was like, well, I don't know. They're like, we're gonna go to this crab place.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
He's like, I didn't bring my wallet. I don't know
what. Yes. And then we go. I order a salad. Everyone else is eating like kings or something, and we're just like not addressing the fact that I'm here for an interview. There's like 7 other people at this table who ended up being my good friends over the years. But so we get back after lunch, not talking about the interview at all. Everybody leaves. They're like, all right, Hayden, see you later, man. Everyone leaves the room. I'm like, what the heck is going on? One guy comes in. He's like, all right, how much money do you want?
And you don't know.
And I was like, I don't know. So I just throw out numbers. I've done zero research.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is I don't know. And I throw out a number. He's like, okay, not that number. We can give you this number. I was like, oh yeah, sure, fine.
What number did you throw out? 1.5
Dude, I don't
million.
Even want to say. It's very embarrassing. I don't want to say.
Was it too low or too high?
It was too high, but not by a lot.
Okay.
It was too high, but not by a lot.
It was pretty obscene.
Yeah. But it was a lot.
But he didn't flinch.
No.
He just made fun of you.
He just made fun of me. He's like, dude, what are you talking about? I love that guy.
Oh,
and then so after we talked, it was great. He basically just said like, told me like, yeah, you're pretty much in. We just have to work out the logistics, and we have to ship this other game first, and then whatever.
Yeah.
And then this other guy comes in. So that guy leaves the room. This other guy comes in. So full leather jacket. He's got a mullet. He's kind of scrappy looking. He's got tight, skinny jeans on.
Middle age?
With a punk rock shirt on and ripped, torn jeans.
Yeah.
Middle age.
Okay.
Head of HR, VP for the company.
He's living the Rockstar lifestyle.
Yeah, I was just like, what is happening?
Cliche.
I don't know who this guy is, but we ended up just chatting. He's like, oh yeah, I flew into town to help work on some other stuff. I just like meeting the new hires. What's up, man? So we just ended up vibing. And then we also ended up being friends at all the conferences we had to go to because we just hang out all the time. I had to hire artists. He had to, he had to do the, VP handholding thing and all that stuff and meeting people.
Did you feel like you had met your people? Like you found your tribe a little bit?
I don't know. At the time, when you're young and you have low self-confidence, I'm going to get real for a second. Yeah, when you're young and you have low self-confidence and you've never had a job in your life.
Not even Starbucks.
Not even Starbucks, okay. Dude. I'm a piece of huge garbage. You sort of attach yourself so quickly to the big name brand that has decided you're part of the family with like no strings attached other than just working there. Right. And so it actually kind of messed with me for the next, and it still messes with me today. Like I have like PTSD from some of this stuff.
Because it felt a little bit like a cult or a little.
No, it was. I mean, I can't break any NDAs.
Okay,
but I can talk about.
Oh, like corporate culture was not your thing.
It wasn't even that. It was like yes, corporate culture is a thing. I love talking about the difference between corporate culture and individual culture, but it was more like I didn't know how to separate my own identity from the brand because I thought the brand was a replacement for my own self-confidence. And so I would wear the shirts everywhere. I would talk about it all the time. I mean, I would come visit you. And I'd be wearing all the swag up to the up to the top.
I mean, you seemed happy though whenever you came back.
I wasn't not happy. I was having a great time, but it messed with my growth as an individual for a while. And I think it was a lesson I needed to learn because it was really hard to leave Rockstar because I attached so much of my identity to that brand. And so like even now it feels like in my pocket right now I have a Red Dead lighter. It's like gold and it's like it's my thing that helps remind me like of the 7 years we put into that game. So it's very it's something that I'm very proud. I'm holding a water bottle right now like that says Rockstar on it. I'm very proud. And all the work we did in the trenches with all the other artists and all the other departments and directors and producers, but it's very it's so complicated. And I've never heard anyone else in my generation describe their job this way because most people they skip to a new company after a year or two.
No big deal.
The millennials are very us millennials we're a little impatient and we also just have better job offers all the time. Like right, like it's not like we're raking it in all the time, but the job offers, at least in the tech industry, you can just keep hopping from tech company to tech company. They'll just keep raising your thing. But Rockstar paid us enough for us to stick around. So everyone I knew was like 50. And I was the youngest person in that company for like 5 years.
Yeah.
So
you were there for 5.5 years. You moved.
I was there for 6.5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what ultimately did end your time at Rockstar?
My grandmother was passing away in San Francisco.
They came home.
I also was going through a big creative shift in my perspective that I don't share with a lot of people, and I guess I'm starting to share now.
You don't have to.
No, I want to. Okay. And Rockstar knows this too. But I spent so many years making things as hyper realistic as I could, and that it takes a lot to make a 3D product, and I just really also wanted to take a chance at my 2D stuff because I'd never had any formal 2D training. Like I'm a terrible painter. And it felt so good to have the immediate feeling of just drawing something with your pen and there it is. It now exists. But in 3D, you got to go through the pipeline. You got to sculpt the thing. You got to make sure you bake the maps properly. You got to put it in the engine. You got to apply you got to make the textures. You got to apply the right lighting. You got to do the rent. It's like a whole thing. But in a painting, you can just decide, I'm going to put a line here and that line is now there. That's it. End of story.
Okay.
And it took a long time for me to, I started getting some freelance gigs for it. People actually turned out they liked my stuff. All this was kind of in my head. But taking that chance on myself and quitting the corporate job to pursue what I wanted to do rather than what was, quote, like best for me, ended up really benefiting my career. And it led to me being an art director now because I've had experience on such a range of crazy stuff. So now I mean, I don't know if we talk.
Yeah. So you're at Topia now.
Yes, I helped found a startup called Topia.io. It's a website. It's kind of like Animal Crossing meets Zoom.
Okay.
You can make all your furniture. You can draw whatever you want. You can throw it in. We do corporate parties. That's actually where we get most of our funding, is like not just investors, but corporate clients who want to do really big, like thousands of people gatherings online. And
on the metaverse.
On this metaverse. It's a metaverse thing. And so I did that for like a solid like year and a half or so. And then I got a brain tumor. And that really shook up everything.
Now, did you find that tumor because you cracked your head on the one wheel, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Let's go. Let's take one step back. So in the meanwhile, you're hanging out in San Francisco, and how did you get into one? One wheel is, if you haven't seen them, they're like a skateboard with the 8-inch, 10-inch wheel in the middle.
Yeah, I'm doing it with my hands, so right. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know, 8-10 inches. It's wide. It's as wide as a skateboard.
It's a go-kart tire.
Yeah. Okay, and you're motoring around on this thing at 25 miles per hour.
Yeah, they're super fun. I mean, you don't really want to push it past 20. Those things are a little, so a little sketch.
15, 10, 15 miles, and you're riding around and you crack your head open. How'd you do this?
Yeah, I was just learning to ride the things, and I didn't realize, because it's on a motor it's one wheel.
Yeah.
So it's not just dedicated to going fast, it's also dedicating energy to keeping you up on one balanced wheel.
Yeah.
And I just didn't put that together in my head, so I decided to just gun it. And it didn't have the power necessary to both keep me up and gun it. So I fell and I got a concussion.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, I still love the sport. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So much fun. I mean, I used to competitive snowboard when I was a kid. So this was like, it feels like snowboarding on concrete.
Yeah.
It's so goopy. That air tire makes everything feel so creamy and carvy.
Yeah.
So I get this concussion and I go to the hospital and they're telling me, okay, you don't have any internal bleeding. You're fine. Turns out there's a lump in your brain though. And we kind of want to check it out.
Yeah.
Might be something.
Yeah.
So they keep me there for a while.
And you're like 26 at this point.
Yeah, I was like 26, 27, 28. I was 28.
So like 2 years ago.
I'm 30 now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't really know what that meant. And so I had to keep going in for MRIs. And it just became such a regular to get MRIs. Like they would fill me up with contrast all the time. And which is kind of gross. It makes you feel like like it was interesting to like get to know the doctors. I smoked a bowl in the parking lot with one of them recently. It was like, there's such interesting people.
Yeah, I mean, they have a job that we look up to a lot, but they're just people.
They're just people, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a traumatic, life-changing experience.
Yeah.
And when you stare at your own mortality from across, usually it's from across a canyon, but when someone tells you have a freaking brain tumor, like it's in the part of my brain that if they do surgery on and something goes wrong, it controls how I perceive reality visually and my motor functions. And I need both of those things to live my life as both an artist and a professional writer.
Yeah.
So it's very it messed me up for a long time. And I drew like a comic about it. I basically like left my job. Like I took an entire, I think, a year off. My partner and I call it the endless summer.
Yeah.
She does marketing websites for Apple, and so she only has to work when it's marketing time. So, and I wasn't working. So for an entire summer, both of us were just not doing anything and just living and being in the moment and learning about ourselves. And it was wonderful and beautiful. We were like doing all sorts of drugs. We were like meeting all these wonderful people. We were trying new things. There were days where we did absolutely nothing and tried to be okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, and it was weird. It was a weird.
But you had
year.
this diagnosis kind of hanging over you, though.
The whole time, yeah. And I didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
I was like, the other people who have brain tumors, they've had successful surgeries, all this other stuff. But I'm not like an accountant, man.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Your life would be dramatically different.
Yeah. I don't know what I would do. And so it really freaked me out. And So I wrote a comic about it and I put it out there, and a lot of people were so nice and helpful. No, and you don't know this necessarily because I have a little bit of a bird's eye view, but there's a lot of people in their 20s that get cancer. Yeah.
And people deal with it in different ways. You know, some people are like, don't tell anyone. You got to battle this on my own.
I know, right?
And other people are like, I'm putting it on Facebook, Instagram, I'm putting it everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong way to deal with it.
There's no right or wrong way. I know that what sucked was people just saying like,
it'll be fine.
Or like people saying like, dude, that, oh man, how can I help? Or like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just tell me it sucks because it sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've actually 180'd on it, and I owe so much of my own personal growth to having this tumor because it really was a huge wake up call. Mm-hmm. And so I approach life in such a different way, like entirely different way now than I did when I didn't have the tumor.
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't named it yet. And I'm coming up with a name pretty soon, but I can't imagine life without that diagnosis now.
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
You know, when you're about to die, or your body thinks, or it's about to approach that mental barrier, that mortality thing, it releases like a chemical that helps you see your entire life. I was like weirdly getting that chemical when I was sleeping, or just randomly like eating, or just anytime I like started thinking about it. And it just started giving me such an appreciation for all the people in my life. And like, you see a doomsday counter kind of go over your head, and you're like, well, now what am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
And it's a good thing. I mean, I'm lucky enough that I get to say it's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who get a diagnosis and they're just like, well, that's like tier 4 tumor, dude. You got about like 5 weeks, maybe 3 days.
Yeah.
You know, and like that, I'm lucky enough that concussion led to them discovering it early
enough. Yeah.
Whereas if I turned like 40, I could just be
because it would
gone.
be 15 years.
Because nobody just casually walks into a hospital and is like, I'm gonna get an MRI real quick.
Right. Yeah, I've got a headache. You know, can I get an MRI? Yeah. Exactly.
It's so sobering though. Like you wake up every day and you understand fully how much of a luxury that is. And then you just can't not do something with that day. You know, like you can't fill it with all the things you love, and you can't not fill it with all the things that you love, and you can't not spend all that time with these people. And like, I was nervous about having kids until I had my tumor. I know. I want kids so bad.
That's interesting. Yeah. You don't know. Yeah. So just to continue our story about the one wheel. So this becomes a huge passion for you. Is it related at all? A little bit of a YOLO feel to it, or?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd never really broken anything before that. Even while competitive snowboarding, I was kind of a safe boy, a little bit of a safe boy. It was so fun, but I never fell.
Yeah,
I never
break
coordinated.
Anything. You've always been very coordinated, right?
No fall gang.
Yeah,
that's the new merch that's coming out. No fall gang. It's about being safe, wearing your gear, don't fall,
but also not falling.
Yeah.
We should say in San Francisco there's this group called the Float Pack. Now, was this around 2 or 3 years ago, or is this just more recent?
It's as recent as one wheeling has kind of been pretty recent in terms of like popularity.
Okay.
So I think it started like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it's just a bunch of people just like a handful of people who are just having fun, riding together, messing around.
And so there's these things called Float Pack Fridays.
Yeah. So I joined in 2 years ago, I want to say now, almost 2 years ago now. And I've since become one of the leads. And so there's like maybe like 5 of us and we organize the routes for these. They're these big, the Float Pack is this collective and started out as just one wheels, but now it's all personal electric vehicles. And it doesn't even, I mean, sometimes we just have regular bikes that come along too. It's great.
Scooters.
Yeah, it's awesome. But we bomb the city, we bomb Embarcadero, and we shoot down Market Street. You know, we do Pier 39, and our home is the Palace of Fine Arts every Friday.
Yeah.
And it's just a moving rave, and we have these speakers that are networked together and hooked up to a DJ. We have lights. Everyone's so friendly. It's like such a wonderful, welcoming space. And you know, we even have we have this program called like the Shepherds, where they're riders who go out of their way to like block traffic, and sometimes they wear safety vests and they have medical kits, and we even have guys in the back to make sure we have everybody. Yeah. We have radios. It's like this whole service that we're doing for this like community. It's so much fun to elevate this community. But I did not get into it thinking that that's what was going to happen. Yeah. I just was riding my board and I saw these other people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's since grown into this thing. We're now the largest PEV. I want to say we're the largest active PEV community in San Francisco. And it's becoming a problem. Like we're running out of places where we could put everyone on these like 100-man rides.
Right now? Are you over 100?
We have like 2,000 people who are watching us, and then like I would say like 75% of those people have ridden with us, but on the regular we get somewhere between like 50 to like maybe 100 120 people every Friday now. And before there was just like 10 of us. And it's been so fun. So I do community management for that too online. I also do the branding for the visual branding for, like I did the logo and helped with, oh God, it's so weird. It's like running a startup, like with other people who also do, like everyone has a role, but none of us, it's because it's all volunteer.
Very organic, yeah.
It's very organic. Like we don't even have merch because we just decided to let the community make whatever they wanted. And they just take it and be creative in their own way. So there's no hard and fast rule of what you're supposed to do other than contribute. It's a very like Burning Man-esque kind of mentality in that way.
Yeah.
You know, you don't ask anyone to do anything.
No one's gaining anything out of this, like materially.
Nothing. And we're just so flattered and humbled that so many other people want to contribute to that vibe. And even just showing up is like such a crazy thing, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, this weekend, I'm supposed to go to a championship qualifier in San Jose to meet a bunch of other people. And I don't even actually ride my one wheel that much anymore.
Yeah.
But
because you became a brand ambassador for Alien Rides?
Yeah. So like
you're on a unicycle now.
And I was actually really scared of riding unicycles.
Like what does this look like? Like for those who don't know, you're basically sitting on a wheel.
If you want, you can sit.
Okay, you can stand. Yeah, it's got stirrups.
It's mostly standing.
Yeah, so you can stand and you squeeze it with your knees, kind of, right, to stay on it. And you're on an electric motor with how many watts? How many volts? What do you get?
Well, they're typically nowadays the S tier wheels are 100 volts with 2,400 to like 3,200 watt hours in them. So they're basically just a battery bomb
with electric motor. Yeah, yeah.
And
so you can like yours is the fastest one though. You can go 40 plus.
I've been riding around on this like prototype wheel that kind of hasn't really dropped yet. It's in the process of coming out. A couple people have their hands on it. It's called the Begode Master. And it's the fastest and most powerful wheel that's ever existed. Yeah. Because most wheels typically the S tier, so there's like commuter ones, you know, that go like 20 miles an hour. Right. Maybe there's like,
which is still really fast for one wheel.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it is really fast. Yeah, you know, when you say it like that, it helps me remember.
Yeah.
And then there's, you know, the next level, which maybe goes like 30. Then there's the S tier that goes 40 to 45 miles an hour. And this new wheel goes 60 miles an hour. And they gutted all of the amenities, and it's like a very lightweight, pure sports car. So it doesn't go very far, but it gets there real fast.
A ton of torque.
It's got suspension. It's got the whole thing.
Yeah.
And these things have just totally taken over my life. And I was so scared to ride them because it's actually a motorcycle, dude.
Yeah.
Like they're dangerous.
Yeah, that kind of speed. And it's just you and the road. There's nothing between you and the road, maybe some elbow pads.
I mean, even like on a motorcycle, there's 2 points of contact with those tires, right? And so you don't really wobble that. You can coast.
Yeah.
But on this thing, if it turns off, you just go down. That's it.
Yeah.
And because there's also 1 point of contact, it's a lot. It's by design, less stable.
Right. Like you can't just go straight.
You can't just go straight because if you do, there's this thing called ABC. It's not American born Chinese. ABC means always be carving.
Yeah.
And so I decided to turn that disadvantage into an advantage because you need to carve to stay up so you don't wobble.
Yeah. Because when you have one wheel, you got all that centripetal force.
Exactly. And it creates perfect like resonance and then generates a vibration, which turns into a wobble, which sends you flying if you can't control it properly. So you have to always carve and move your weight around so that little vibration never happens. So that's what I do. I just carve super freaking deep. I carve at like a 45 plus degree angle on these unicycles, and I take these crazy turns. It's so fun.
Yeah, you got to get me some footage. Can I put some on my Instagram?
Oh man, heck yeah!
You got
we have too much footage.
Well, that's what you do now. You're making content with your friends and a drone. You're just...
Oh man, we're talking to a drone guy now. He's like a really good pilot. He drones for other companies and stuff. Right now, we sort of just film with this shitty little Insta 360 camera. Quality's terrible,
right?
But gets the job done, and because it's a 360 camera, we can edit in post. So we don't have to. So my camera guy he's also the shot director, so he like plans the route. Yeah. So anyways, we're doing this influencer thing. We're doing this like lifestyle brand PEV Instagram thing. Yeah. And we are kind of just doing it for fun.
Right.
We wanted to, as the quote is, spread the stoke.
Okay.
Because the PEV community is pretty niche. It's super small, right? And a lot of these things are in a legal gray area. Like I'm riding a Chinese piece of scrap metal going 60 miles an hour, and there is no insurance for this thing.
There's no regulation.
There's no regulation. Yeah. The cops just look at it and clap because they think it's awesome, but they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do with it. and so So we're just trying our best to get the word out there, like let people know these things are fun. They can be safe, handled responsibly, all that stuff. The other thing is like, there's just not a lot of content, like professional-esque kind of content creators out there for this sport because it's so new and so niche. So most of the people making stuff are kind of just filming themselves. They're like trying to explain and express how their love for these wheels. But Victor and I, my partner in this endeavor, Gabrielle is my girlfriend.
That kind of partner.
Victor is the business partner,
creative partner
on this other project.
Okay.
So he and I just really wanted to take our existing professional skill set and apply it to this hobby that we love so much, and we did not expect it to go as well as it has been. Like, one of our first videos, it did pretty well at like 64,000 views.
Yeah.
And then ever since there, like, we're having all these cool partnerships with all these brands that are coming out and all this stuff. Like last night, we're getting sent like $500 worth of clothing so that we can wear it in the videos, and we're supposed to tag them.
That's the way it works, I guess.
That's the way I get.
So you're an influencer now.
We're doing it. It's really weird. Like, it's so weird. Like it's a lot of fun. But
Yeah.
it's so much work, dude. Like I have to sit here and like,
No, there's people. This is what they
my
do for a living, right?
God.
There's a ton of women
Mhm.
who just wear clothes and look pretty and go neat places, and they make a living off of it.
Yeah. And I don't think I understood. I mean, I had influencer friends, but I never like did it.
Yeah.
And we're by no means like huge right now.
Right.
We're big in the PEV specific community.
Right.
And we only just started this like a month ago. So, but it's been really weird. Like even within the first 2 weeks, we like got, you know, like some sponsorships and some other stuff. And a lot of people are like, yeah, keep going. And it's really nice. But it's also, it's so, oh man, okay. I don't want to like offend anybody, but the way we're trying to portray these things is like fun, lighthearted, floaty, you know, beautiful, choreographed, like look at this California sun, look at this dreamy time. Most of the people who get into this stuff right now are like really hardcore. They're like really like, I'm going to go fast. I'm going to get out of my way. I got something to prove.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I love that mentality. Like skaters have that mentality a lot because they're rejected from popular culture back in the day. You need it to say like, hey, back off. Let me live my freaking life.
Right.
But I'm not a meta guy. I'm like I'm a thin dude with low self-confidence. And so I'm into the pinks, I'm into the yellows.
Yeah.
And
you're not all tatted up. You're not in the gym. Yeah.
So I own a gym and I don't use it. That's how not like I own a power rack and I don't use it.
Yeah.
But so our stuff is like a little more floaty, and it's been nice to show people that there's more to this lifestyle than just having to be like, just go fast, just get out of my way.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of that too in my personal time, but
no, I get you. There's, you know, I guess that's good to have different perspectives. You know, there's people that just bomb, no helmets, music blasting.
Dude, and they're gods. Yeah. Let me tell you, these guys, there's a guy in the community who like he rides barefoot sometimes, no shirt, no nothing. He turned off all of his speed alarms because he can physically feel
how fast
when the motor is going to cut out on him. So he rides up to that edge and he just knows. He just knows. It's crazy.
All right, this last question is called Who's Your Infatuasian? We try to elevate those in our community. So this could be anyone in the Asian community, living or deceased, someone you know or someone you admire from afar. Is there anyone in the Asian community that you would say is your current infatuation?
My current infatuation? I mean, I can think of like 3 off the top of my head.
Yeah?
I'm trying to narrow it down though.
Okay, yeah. You can have more than one if you want. Radio is cheap.
Is it 4 Asian reasons?
No.
Okay. Okay. Off the top of my head, it's got to be Jane Ng, and Jane Ng is a artist who used to work for this company in San Francisco called Double Fine, which made these huge cult classic video games called Psychonauts and Costume Quest. Jane Ng is like an industry icon.
Do you know
if
her?
you're a developer? Yeah. I met her at a party that they threw in Seattle. She and I talked about rocks at this party for like what felt like 2 hours on a rooftop. And I just got to learn so much about she had said inside me, the individualism of being a creative person in a production setting, in a corporate production setting where they just need stuff. And talking to her over the years, she's always like been super supportive. We don't talk tons, but she's so cool, man. She's so cool. She made this game called Firewatch, on her own. Now she's working at Valve.
She older than you? Or
she's older than me. She kind of mentored me on the side in passing conversation over the years. It's like we're not super
Nothing
close.
Official, yeah.
Yeah, we're not super close, but we've tried to get a cup of coffee or hang out every few years. And I remember when I was struggling with my own identity at Rockstar and like all this other stuff, it was a conference where she and I just chatted, and she just was like, you have to learn that it's okay to take a chance on yourself. And it's not in service of anything other than, like, you don't have to have a plan. You just have to trust that you're going to be able to do the thing if you give a shit about it enough. Like, you can't just like quit your job and expect the world to like bend to your whim. It's like you quitting your job allows you the time and space and energy to finally pursue the unknown, and that making that leap, I wouldn't have been able to do if Jane hadn't sat there at a party, I think in Seattle, trying to convince me while both of us had too many vodkas.
But she's still able to be wise.
She's so wise. And she has her own Twitter you can follow. I don't remember what it is.
Well, we'll look her up. Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for chatting with us.
Dude, oh my God. This is so much fun hanging out.
I know, this is our second time. We were working to record this out in Golden Gate Park in the environment, but it's too windy. So
it was windy.
So we came to the dining room. So we're actually first indoor interview for the Infatuasian podcast. So,
wait, really?
Well, I did one in the garage.
Is that not indoor?
I did two in the garage, yeah. So, but this is the first indoor, like in the living room.
Like in the, we're in the living room. You guys, this place is gorgeous. Let me describe it for a second. It's white. There's just white everywhere, but it's mixed up with all these wonderful different material breakups. Like their chimney is massive, it's white painted.
Yeah, mid-century modern chimney, yeah.
Oh my God. Like even the way that light plays from that yellow skylight and it hits all the surface and it makes that whole loft up there look like beautiful and yellow, have these yellow tones. But then at the front of the house, it's a little more blue because it's unfiltered. This is like this nice contrast. You got like just enough plants where you're not like plant people in here.
Well, thank you, man. My wife will. I'll make sure my wife listens to this because she'll enjoy your critique.
Dude, this is fantastic. This is actually the goal. This is the goal.
Well, glad. Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Yes.
Well, that does it for episode 43. Thank you to Hayden Wu for coming by. Best of luck and everything. Stay safe. Don't die.
You too, man. I mean, I fell at 43 the other day and fractured my ankle a little more, but we're walking it off.
Okay. Okay. Man, I see these videos sometimes. People out there, when you watch these videos, I get worried for Hayden when I watch these videos a little bit. But
wear your armor, people.
He's wearing armor. He learned his lesson a little bit. Like, you broke a wrist, right? You broke a wrist.
We learned our lesson enough that we can keep doing it.
You can still do it. Yeah. So if you want to follow Hayden, he's at Hayden the Woo on Instagram. What else you got? You got Twitter? Or you got?
If you want to follow our company, it's at Topia.io.
Okay.
And I don't have Twitter because I don't like reading.
Yeah, I don't.
I just
Twitter
like pictures.
Yeah,
I'm also too old for TikTok. I don't understand it, and I'm afraid of it, which makes me realize my age.
Yeah.
But yeah, mostly on Instagram.
And at the float pack, I'll write that out. There's a couple underscores in there, but I'll write that out in the show notes. Hey, and thank you all out there for listening. I hope you learned something. We had a lot of topics today, so hopefully you learned something about something. And you can follow us anywhere you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google. You know where to find us, and I'll put all the information in the show notes. You know where to write us, and you know where to follow us. So on behalf of Hayden and myself, we hope you're all happy, healthy, and safe out there. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Later, gamer.
let me just roll this for a while. Hour and 16 minutes. How long did we talk the other day?
Oh, man. Probably just as much.
I felt like we dipped into more topics last time.
Well, I mean, we talked about our real stuff.
Yeah,
like our personal stuff a lot.
I thought I was going to have to bleep out more F-bombs.
See, I'm conscious.
Yeah.
I said a couple that I felt were timed correctly.
Yeah. No, I think the FCC is okay with some words, but the F-bomb, they're very sensitive about that. I don't know.
What's up with that?
So I was going to have you record the word fork.
Fork.
And then I would just edit it. But I don't think you used it. Anyway.
Wait, let's use what about for the S word? Because I said that a couple
times.
No,
I don't have to. See, that's the thing, is they don't care about that word.
Okay, wait, how about we just record a couple things? Poopy butthole. Shot my knickers off. Oh, wait, that sounds really close to something bad. Let's talk about pants. Shakespeare. Too much coffee, dude.
That might have to get edited out. All right, man. Thanks so much.
Oh my God, so much fun.